We're looking at here at a parabolic archway that is 30 meter wide at its base and 18 meters high at its highest point. So what I want to do is find an equation of this archway in factored form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a diagram to help guide me in setting up my equation. I'm going to make this very simple. I mean, it is an archway, so I'm not going to draw anything crazy here except other than an arch. This arch, I'm going to go from here. The very top will cross the y-axis and we'll go to here. Now, why do I draw my arch over here? If I really wanted to, I could have put my arch over here. I could have put it over here. I could have put it up here, anywhere I really want to. But anytime I draw a picture to represent a word problem, I try to place my object, my drawing, somewhere so that it's easy to label coordinates. And the reason why I chose it over here is because in this way, remember, if this archway is 30 meters wide on each end, I will have 15 units here, negative 15 units here, and if it's 18 meters high in terms of height, well, that happens at 0, and the y value will be 18. So that's why I put the arch in this particular scenario, in this particular configuration, because it's easy to read off the coordinates of specific points. And notice that this happens to be a root, this is also a root, and this up here is my vertex. So I have two roots and a vertex, so you couldn't ask for better points. So let's start with the first part. It says find the equation of the archway in factored form. Now factored form, if you recall, looks something like this. So let's have h equal the height. It'll be x minus r times x minus s, but I gotta add one more thing in there. I'm gonna move this over a bit. The a value tells me whether it opens up or down, which is obviously down in this case, and how wide or how narrow my parabola is going to be. Now there's some numbers I can plug in here immediately. That is the roots, negative 15 and positive 15. If I go to my equation here, look closely, what I get is a open bracket. I get x minus 15 as one root, and then I get x plus 15 as my other root. To figure out my a value, this is the number in front, I need to determine what my vertex is. And like I said before, I already know it. I know that my vertex is 0, 18. And what I'm going to do with this set of ordered pairs, this ordered pair here, is put it into my equation. So I'm going to have 18 for h, a here, 0 for x, minus 15, close bracket, 0 for x again, plus 15, close bracket. I'm going to multiply out what I get here. Notice that this is negative 15 and this is positive 15. If I multiply them together, I get negative 225. And if I divide both sides by that number, negative 225 divided by negative 225, what I end up with is, let's see here, a, I'm going to put the a on this side, is equal to negative 18 over 225, which can be reduced to negative 2 over 25. I divided the top and bottom by 9. Again, check that yourself. With this number, we can actually find or write our final equation. It's all of this stuff here, except that I'm going to replace that a value with the negative 2 over 25. So I'm going to open this up a little bit, take this guy here, and paste it in. Well, move over this equation sign a bit. There is my a value. Here is my equal sign. And I write the h over here. So there's your equation in factored form for the height of the parabola. The second part says write the equation of the archway in vertex form. Now, just like with factored form, the general form for vertex form is a bracket x minus h being the x coordinate of the vertex, squared plus k, where k is the y coordinate of the vertex. Just like above, we're able to plug in two values immediately because we know the vertex is 0, 18. So over here, what I can do is rewrite it as a bracket x minus 0 because it doesn't move left or right, plus 18. That's the y value of my vertex. The only thing that's left to do is solve for the a value. And I need to use another point. So I've used the vertex. Now what I'm going to do is choose between my two roots. So which one? Should I use the positive 15 or the negative 15? Really, it doesn't matter. Pick one and it'll work. So I'm going to choose, just to make it a bit more interesting, the negative value. And the coordinate of that point is negative 15, 0. And if I go over here, that means my h is 0. I have a, I have negative 15 minus 0 squared plus 18. 0 equals a. Negative 15 squared is 225. And that's plus 18. Rearranging, I get negative 18 equals 225a. Divide both sides by 225. Are you starting to see the picture here? This a value is the exact same a value as I got in the previous part. No surprise. In fact, I didn't even have to do all this work in part B because it's always going to be the same. And because I already calculated it, I could have actually carried that negative 18 over 225 or reduced negative 2 over 25 into my final vertex form. So I did this once. I'll never do it again. I encourage you not to, if you're writing something in factored and vertex, take the shortcut. Okay, once you've seen it once, you're good, and provided you understand. So my final equation, instead of y, I'm going to use h, is negative 2 over 25 x minus 0 squared plus 18. And although this is 100% correct, I mean anything minus 0 or plus 0 has no effect on the value. So my final equation will be negative 2 over 25 x squared plus 18. So there's your vertex form. The next part says what is the height of the archway 5 meters from the end. So if I go to my diagram, 5 meters from the end, let me undo this clutter here. Well, which end are we talking about? You know what? It doesn't matter. So let's pick 5 meters from this end. That'll be over here, which is 10 meters from the middle. The question is, well, how high, if I were to go up here, how high is the archway at this point? This is what we want to find out. Well, the good news is that we have an equation. And that equation, well, we have two equations actually, gives us the height of the archway at any point on it. Okay, provided we put a value for x. And in this case, the x is not 5, but it's going to be 10. So which equation shall we choose? I think I'm going to choose the factored form over here. So I'm going to take this guy, copy it, and for x, I'm going to replace it with a 10. So take this out, put a 10 here, put a 10 here, and let's see, what do we get? We get negative 2 over 25. So 10 minus 15 is negative 5. 10 plus 15 is 25. And negative 5 times 25 times negative 2, that gives me 200. No, 250. 250 divided by 25 gives me 10. So the height of the arch, 5 meters from the end, is 10 meters. That means I can replace this question mark here with 10. There's my 10. Just out of curiosity, here's a little question for you to answer. Where else does this bridge achieve a height of 10 meters again? And I'll let you answer that. Next part in D says find the height of the archway 4 meters from the center. So the center in this case is at 0. 4 meters from the center is, say, roughly out here. So here is my 4. So the question is, well, how high up do I go? Not quite the vertex, but very, very close. And in this case, I think I'm going to use my vertex form. Again, it doesn't matter which one I choose. I'm just trying to make it interesting. Use one equation, use the other. And instead of x equals 10, I'm going to replace the x with a value of 4. So 4 here for x. I square that 4, gives me 16. 16 times negative 2. Well, let me slow down. That'll give me 16. Then plus 18. 16 times negative 2 is negative 32 divided by 25 plus 18. If you convert this into a decimal and add it to the 18, you end up with 16.72 meters. And that makes sense because if we go to the arch here, 16.72 is just below 18. And we're very close to the top, but not quite there. Good. Last part here, we're looking at the width of the bridge 10 meters from the ground. Now, what does that mean? The width of the bridge 10 meters from the ground. Again, go to your diagram to guide you. So 10 meters from the ground, in other words, 10 meters up is this height. I want to find the width of the bridge. So let me do this in blue. 10 meters from the ground on the other end. Again, I asked you to answer this question. And if you did, you probably figured out that this is going to be negative 10 here. Again, using the symmetry of the parabola. 10 meters above the ground, the width, I'm looking for what this value is. In other words, how long is it from here to here? Well, a good way to see that is, well, this width, if I kind of take this line and just trace it down, what I end up with is really the distance between negative 10 and positive 10, which is 20. So there's not much calculation involved. In fact, you can just write your final answer as 20 meters. Using the picture as a guide. If you really want to do a calculation, you just go 10 minus negative 10, and that gives me my 20 meters. So there's your question involving a bridge, an arc, whatever you want to call it. The key is to always place your parabola strategically, okay, so that you can determine the values of the vertex, the roots, whatever, if they exist, with ease.